Yes guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Now, in today's video it's slightly different from what you're used to, so it's going to be less around training, nutrition, and more around the actual specific life lessons that I've managed to learn as a byproduct of achieving the health and the fitness goals that I've managed to achieve, the business that I've managed to build, and the lifestyle that's came with that. So let me talk you through a bit about where I was. Imagine me, let's say 5 years ago. I was 30 kilo heavier, I was overweight, I was unhappy, I had no confidence at all. So I was someone who was really shy. I'd never put myself first. Let's say I was going somewhere or I was at an event. I always had so much negativity going on in my head. I was never the type of person to want to be the centre of attention. I absolutely hated it. I was happy just sitting in the corner. I'd observe, but I'd never want to be the person to put myself out there. Now, I'll talk you through how this was affecting me, but what I've learned is that you have to put yourself out there to achieve what you want in life, especially if you're a man in like your 20s, your 30s, I mean any age really, but as we get into specifically the world we're in now and how everything's going online and the sort of world that's being built, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to push yourself out of your comfort zone, otherwise you're not going to get where you want to be. Like they say, nothing good comes out of being stuck in your comfort zone, right? You've got to be willing to push that. So I was the type of person that hated to be the centre of attention. I was always the quiet person from probably around age 15, right? Maybe even younger, maybe 14. I was someone who didn't want to be centre of attention. I didn't want to be all eyes on me. I hated it. If all eyes were on me, I was like, get me out of here. I was the kid that hated that. Like, that was not me at all. And what actually happened was I identified then as someone who hated to be centre of attention. I was someone who liked to just sit at the back and observe without actually getting involved, and maybe these were things that were holding me back, and looking back they 100% were. I wasn't in getting involved in things that would aid in my career development, things that would aid in my health and fitness, and the reason I wasn't getting involved in these is because I identified as someone who couldn't do that based on what I told myself because of past experiences. So whatever happened at school or at college, due to how that made me feel and my confidence and how it went down and how I just almost thought that I don't need to be like that. I'll just sit at the back. I just want to get through the day. And this really negative self-talk and perception of myself, that caused me to then carry that on into my early adult life, my late teenage years. And what it was doing was it was holding me back. It wasn't allowed, like, this mindset was keeping me stuck and stopping me from becoming the person I wanted to become. I knew that when I wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone, I knew that had to change because I was a young man with big ambition. I knew that I wanted to be I always almost had something in my head that was like, no, I don't want to settle for that. That's average. I don't want to be average. And I knew I wanted more, but I just never had the self-confidence, or I didn't think I did based on previous experiences, to push myself out my comfort zone and to step into the unknown and to go, you know what, I'm going to figure it out. I was always so caught up on what others thought about me, and I based my actions on what I did based on what other people thought about me and what they perceived about myself, and it really held me back. So it got to a point where I was about 17, around 17, 18, and I was like, right, I need to make a change. I'm unhappy with how I look. I'm not eating well at all. I'm underweight. I was training a bit in my garage. I was trying to do some form of exercise. I was like skinny fat, so I obviously had no muscle, but I was also skinny, but I had enough body fat to make me look like I wasn't just like skinny in itself. So that's called skinny fat. Now, I hated the way I looked at the time. Like I said, I knew I was someone who had ambition and wanted to be more than just the average person, but I didn't know how to go about it. So I had this hard work ethic and I knew I wanted more, but I didn't know how to get there. Like, I didn't have that roadmap almost. I was just clueless in that respect. So at this time I'm in lockdown, I'm working hard, I'm transforming my physique, I am improving, but I was skinny fat and I needed to change. I made the mistake. I tried to put on loads of weight. It worked, but I was left overweight. I was going to the gym a lot, and I was getting stronger, but I had put on a lot of fat and I was unhappy. So I kept working hard and I did make some improvements. I invested in a personal training course. I started learning that. I did a nutrition course, and I started practicing I was practicing what I was learning, and I was getting good results. I lost quite a lot of weight and I signed up with an online coach as well. I signed up with a guy called Luke Whitney, and this was like years ago now. I lost a lot of weight through that as well, and yeah, I learned a lot, which was great. Ultimately, I had that accountability to get it, and I had a mindset of like, I am going to get this done, like nothing's stopping me. I'm a hard worker. I've now got the roadmap. I put two together and I get result. Now, I continued to do that, which was great, and I got a fantastic result. But I was left quite skinny. At this time, I was actually skinny now. Like, I was quite lean, but I was just lean because I was skinny. I didn't really have any muscle. I was the fittest I'd ever been. Like, I was only, I think, 19 at the time. I was running like 19-minute 5Ks, which was good considering probably 12 months prior to that, I'd run a mile in 12 minutes and my shins would be all cramped and I was out of breath. So it was good progression for me. But I knew that I had to make some change moving forward. Okay, so now in today's video, I want to talk you through the 3 biggest changes I've had in my mindset that have completely changed my life since losing 30 kilo of fat and transforming my health and fitness. So you know a bit about my story now, where I've came from, where I am now. Let me dive straight in. So let me talk you through the biggest lessons that I've learned. Number 1 is going to be all about acting as if you're already the future self that you want to become. So as an example, up here you've got this version of yourself, the person you want to become. Let's say the confident version of you, the person that puts their hand up in work when they know that they maybe should do, the person that has the confidence to start new relationships, the person who can walk on holiday with their top off and feel proud of the way they look, the person that maybe has the confidence to start a family in the future and provide for them and be the person that they know that they need to become. The person that has the confidence to just be happy in themselves and not feel like they've got to hold themselves back because of whatever reason. Now, if you want to become that person, the person who's lean, the self-confidence, the good physique, the good fitness, etc., how do you think that future version of you, that person you want to become, acts when things get tough? So let's say you're tired after work. If you want to become this future version of yourself, remember, you act in alignment with that person. So every day you either vote to become that person, so you vote for him, or against becoming that person. So every decision you make, like I said, you either vote for or against becoming that future version of yourself. So let's say, as an example, you've got home from work, you're tired. Do you think the person who's lean, confident, the six-pack, all the benefits we spoke about, is going to go, I'm skipping the gym? Or do you think they're going to go, you know what, I am tired. I don't really want to go to the gym right now, but I set myself high standards. Because I set myself high standards and I act in alignment with that, that's the reason I've got this physique and this confidence. So I'm going to do the hard thing. I'm going to go to the gym now, knowing that doing that hard thing is going to benefit me in the long run. It's going to allow you to have the physique that you want. So number 1's all about acting as if you're already this future version of yourself. Start acting like that person now and you'll get a lot closer to who you want to become. So number 2 is going to be all about self-perception / identity and limiting beliefs. The only limits you have are the ones that you set yourself. Now, so many people I speak to, or like even myself, like everyone has them, right? Everyone has limiting beliefs, things that they tell themselves. Everyone perceives themselves in a certain way. Think about your identity. Like, you might be someone in the past who said, oh, maybe I'm just not meant to be in shape. I look at a cake and I put on body fat. I'm someone who's just got no confidence. I'm just someone who's meant to be quite shy, and I've never been like that. You've just sort of told yourself that and identified as that person. Or maybe others have told you that at school, college, whatever, as you've grown up in work, and you've just sort of held on to that limiting belief and that identity as you are that person. Now, you act in alignment with who you think you are. So you act as if you're that person, whether that's true or not. If you just believe that, you're going to act in alignment with it. So we need to sort of break this pattern and break this loop and think, right, I don't want that to happen anymore, because every single time that does happen, you act in alignment with the person you think you are. You reinforce that belief that you are that person, and that's negative. We don't want that because that's not serving you. So we need you to act in alignment with the person who's confident, the person who believes in themselves, the person who's willing to put in the hard work knowing that they're going to get a result they're proud of. If you've got limiting beliefs, we need to work, how can we overcome these? Because when I've overcame limiting beliefs, and I'm still working on things to this day, but the limiting beliefs I've overcame has massively impacted my life. If you keep telling yourself certain things and you're holding yourself back, you're never going to become this future version of yourself. So number 1 and 2 are sort of interlinked, because you act in alignment with who you think you are. You need to have an identity shift and identify as someone who's healthy, someone who prioritizes their health. Think about the future version of yourself that we said in number 1. What identity do you think that person would have? How would they identify? So that version of yourself that's lean, healthy, fit, etc., what identities would that person hold? Would they identify as someone who's fit? Of course. We act in alignment with how we identify ourselves. So how would that person then act? 1 and 2 are sort of interlinked. And then in terms of limiting beliefs, you'll always have some form of little limiting beliefs, but it's about cutting them off. And the more undeniable proof that you give yourself that you are who you say you are, the more confidence you have. So it's about acting as that person, having this strong identity as you are who you say you are, acting in alignment with that because you are this future version of yourself that you want to become. And that's going to give you confidence that you are who you say you are. So number 2 is about self-perception, self-identity. You need to rewire that if you're someone who identifies in a negative way. And by the way, I have actually got a call on that on my podcast. So if you want more information on that, just comment the word identity below and I'll send that over to you. And the final thing there being limiting beliefs. You've got to overcome these limiting beliefs to become the person you want to be in the future. It's not easy, but that's why I'm obviously talking you through it now. But these are the lessons that I've managed to learn and I've managed to overcome whilst losing the body fat. This isn't like you have to do it in isolation. As you lose the body fat, you start to re-identify yourself, okay? You start to get rid of these limiting beliefs that you always told yourself, and you are starting to act like this person that you want to become, and you have the high standards that that person, that successful version of yourself has, and you act in alignment with them high standards, and you get big results as a byproduct. And number 3 is going to be environment. Now, environment dictates outcomes. If you're surrounded by 10 idiots, you'll probably be the 11th idiot. If you're surrounded by 10 entrepreneurs, you'll probably want to be an entrepreneur, right? So it's all about who you spend your time with. You normally are going to act similar to them, whether you realize it or not. Make sure that you've got a support network around you. As you start to change anyway, and your standards change, so you set yourself high standards, you act in alignment with that, you change your sort of identity, then typically what happens is your circle changes anyway. You realize that some people just don't really fit your circle anymore. They don't act in alignment with how you want people to act, or like what you want your friends to be like. They don't have the same standards as you anymore. Maybe they're quite negative people and that's not who you want to become. So your circle changes, and that's not a bad thing. Not everyone in your life is there for the whole for the whole life, the whole book. Some people are just there for a short chapter, and it's not a bad thing at all. It means that you're leveling up, and sometimes you're running whilst people are walking, and that's okay. So number 3 is all about environment, how it dictates your outcomes, and making sure you're surrounded by the right people in order to grow and become the version of yourself that you truly want to. I'm telling you now from experiences, I used to hold myself back. I used to be telling myself negative things. I had low self-identity. I didn't believe who I was because I had no proof of that. I hadn't put in the work to achieve outcomes. I had loads of limiting beliefs based on what people had told me, based on what I told myself, and I acted in alignment with that, so I wasn't getting the results I wanted. And I was around the wrong people. I didn't have the right people in my life, the people that were going to push me. And that all came from, it was me. I made that investment into a fitness business coaching group. I was surrounded by the right people. That's helped me to elevate my company. I've obviously invested in other coaches as well to develop my skills. And yeah, I think they're like my 3 biggest takeaways. So just to reiterate, number 1 is start acting like the future version of yourself now. Start thinking about every situation you do on a day-to-day basis. How would the person you want to become act to that situation? Don't start acting like the person you are now. Think about this future version more. Because number 2 is going to be about limiting beliefs, self-identity and self-perception. So if you've got any limiting beliefs, we need to work on them. But as you start to transform your health and your fitness, I've noticed that you work on them naturally and they do almost get crushed, and limiting beliefs that you've had, identity shifts will occur as you start to transform your health and your fitness. It's all part of the journey. And number 3 is about environment. It's hard to go big in terms of your ambition and your goals if you're surrounded by people with no ambition and people with no goals. So be careful of who you surround yourself with, have a support network, and stay consistent. So I hope this has helped. If it has, make sure that you like and subscribe. Check out my Instagram. It's going to be linked in the description. My Instagram is Jacob Smith Coach. If you want to learn more about working with me, I will actually put a book a call link in the bio. Click the link, book a call with me, free. It's just a strategy session. We'll go over where you're at, where you're looking to go, and see if I can bridge that gap. And I'll catch you in the next video.